That's maybe everything I can say in Spanish. Or cerveza por favor. Yes. So very important things. Welcome to our session, to the rise of the citizen developer. So first we said that this session would be about no-code citizen developer, but we needed to change it to low-code, so there is still a little bit. So sorry for the confusion, right?
We will not show too much code.
Exactly. So, but we try to keep the code as low as possible. Yeah. Okay, first, about you.
Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Marcel, or how we say in Switzerland, Masse. Very difficult to pronounce. I'm a digital workplace architect at CNext. I'm also one of the founder of the company. And yeah, some of my social media information, and if we want to talk more, let's do that later at SharePoint or any other occasion.
So this is your highest interest, let's have a SharePoint.
Yeah, somehow. Share wine is better.
Share wine, yes, exactly. Okay, quickly about myself. So for those who know me, my name is Jussi, but in the community they call me Jussi. So I'm a product and community manager at Habit. So come to our booth and talk about the product. The blog, Experts Online, you can find some musings about user adoption mostly. So also my Twitter handle over there. And I'm interested in tech, all kind of tech, sailing, cars, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. So thanks a lot for the sponsors. Obviously, because of them we can be here and have this awesome conference, and I hope you have a lot of fun and get a lot of useful information. So first I want to start something about Finland. Who has been to Finland? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, JP here. Wow, okay. I'm blown away. So, some facts about Finland. There are 2 million saunas in Finland. So that means you can put every Finn in a sauna at the same time. There are 5 million Finns and 2 million saunas. So, yeah. There are 16 people per square kilometer. So if you want space, go to Finland. Finns have the highest coffee consumption in the world. It's about 12 kilograms annually. And this also applies to ice cream. So it can be minus 20 degrees outside. You see a Finn going into the grocery store, getting an ice cream and eating it on the road. So it's kind of crazy. And we have the most World Rally Championship titles in the world. So if you once have been driving in Finland, you will know why. There are about 180,000 lakes in Finland and more than 300,000 islands. So let's compare a bit Spain to Finland. So you have this beautiful scenery over here. We have this guy. You have, of course, awesome football and Rafael Nadal. So we have a wife-carrying competition. And the first prize is that you get the weight of beer, how much your wife weighs. No joke. And we have a rubber boot throwing competition. So you see a small difference. But it's very charming. So Finland rocks. I would really recommend it. Good. The rise of the citizen developer. What is a citizen developer? Is a user who creates new business applications for consumption by others using development and runtime environments essential by corporate IT. So this is the official statement what a citizen developer would be. Marcel, in your words, what do you think is a citizen developer?
I think basically everyone is kind of becoming a citizen developer or doing citizen development. We're now a bit in a difficult situation. We will cover that later. We see we have a lot of new tools, we have a lot of opportunities, how we can build stuff, we have a lot of funny new tools, we have intelligence things which we can integrate into solutions. And I think Microsoft said once, their goal is, I don't know what they said, 20 years or something, everyone should become a developer. Everyone should write code. For example, in Switzerland, the situation is currently that we have a new education plans and all the kids should somehow get familiar with software. And citizen development in my way is that we all get technology skills, that we all get tools which are easy to use and which abstract the complexity. And the cloud is a huge driver for that, because the cloud just kind of wraps a lot of complexity. And with this, on one side it's very nice, on the other side, we will see that a bit later, it's pretty problematic.
Yeah, so also the SharePoint PLP focus is starting to shift there, as we could see in the last community calls. They're talking about this topic. So now is the time to really look into that. So what are the tools?
Yeah, on one side, if we talk about citizen development tool stack in the Microsoft world, on one side it's Power Apps, right? Pretty rich UI, pretty connected applications integrated into SharePoint, where you can customize SharePoint experiences. On the other side, we have Flow. Is someone using Flow or Power Apps kind of in production?
Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys in the back, you don't count.
If someone says no, maybe the question is why not? In my opinion, Flow is a wonderful tool. I want to go a little bit deeper on the issues there, but we use Flow currently more like as a middleware. That means Flow is a thing to connect different things with all the connectors it has. It just allows to build pretty nice end-to-end scenarios, but on the other side, Flow is not like, in my opinion, a workflow or a real process engine currently. I mean, if you do Flow, you come to the limits pretty fast. Power BI, visualization of data, very rich, very interactive visualization. Power BI runs, for example, also in Power Apps in SharePoint and everywhere. Then another concept out of the SharePoint world are list customizers. This is one point where we start to see how, let's say, a citizen developer can start to customize the look of a list, for example. Currently it needs JSON, it's a bit hard to do if you don't want to do just the very simple things. But this is another approach, in my opinion, which also belongs in the citizen developer area. Also, we might need to mention PowerShell here. Do you think that PowerShell is for citizen developers or not? We have different customers with, let's say, different situations. We have customers who are able to run, connect something to the cloud and maybe just run a line and then maybe a feature is turned on. So for me, this is also kind of citizen development, but when it goes further, and you're really writing a script yourself and so on, I think there is the border. Okay, some words about the evolution of citizen developer. What I wanted to say before is currently it's a very hard situation. On one side we have all these tools, we have all our data connected, we can just go and use them, but as behind everything there is a learning curve. And we are all doing this learning curve somehow together with Microsoft. We have to be aware of that. You know the Dreyfus model, it's just a simple model which says what skills people have and how to develop them. If you can press once, please. I think nowadays it more looks a bit like that. You have tons of tools, you have data, you have interactions, you have all kind of stuff, and most of the solutions look a bit like that. So I think we are currently in the mayhem phase. That means we are all just trying to figure out what can we do with these things, especially in production. We are doing modern projects since modern in this way exists, and yeah, these were pretty hard years lately, because you come to the customer, you can showcase some proof of concept pretty fast, and the customer says, yeah, cool, I want that. And actually, if you try to realize or address the real business problems, you will see that it's a mayhem phase. So go around, just try it out, but as I'm stating in the end, be careful with putting this stuff in production. I don't want to say these tools are not that ready for production. They are ready, but be careful.
Yeah, so is it enterprise ready? So you said partly, but getting there pretty fast. So why? So the flow, no limitations. So run duration of 30 days, maximum 8 nested levels, missing design patterns, and designer itself, copy paste, etc., and many other things.
And really, in the flow area, we see a lot of things which we are missing. Let's say in comparison to what we did before, Nintex, to any kind of other products which were there to automate processes are just way further than flow is. I started a project, the customer came up, they had problems, SharePoint 2010 workflows, the out-of-the-box approval wasn't working anymore in the cloud, so I said, yeah, cool, let's do it with flow. I went there, I did the demo, they said, we want that. I said, okay, we can do it in 3 to 5 days. Yeah. Try to build what you had on the 2010 platform in flow. First of all, we had parallel and sequential approvals. This is a big challenge. Then we had automated reminders. We had a time dimension in the whole story. We had tons of exit points. We could reassign tasks and so on. On Monday we go live with this project because FDA, the American guys, will come and do an audit. I have to show this solution based on flow. It works, yeah, but let's see what they say.
Oh,
there are a lot of quirks.
We missed the word here.
Oof. Yeah, sorry. Okay, Power Apps the same, flow, in my opinion, all the application lifecycle management topics are missing, they are coming, so that's what I say, try to follow up the news. If you discuss with customers and they have requirements, it might be that you can play a little bit on time and say, I know that this thing is coming maybe in 4 weeks, let's wait and jump in there.
So the recommendation from us, so try it out, search use cases, get familiar with the tech, and follow up the product evolution. So there's a lot of stuff happening all the time, and it's very hard for us in this space to really keep up with all the wiring, what is happening. But you need to start early in order that when it's really there, that you are ahead of the others who are still.
Yeah, because there is a high, in my opinion, a very high ramp-up time. So as earlier as you start to get familiar with things, as earlier you will be able to address customers' needs concretely and hopefully make money out of it.
It has a high ramp-up time, but also very high potential. Yeah, very high potential. So, what are the community gurus talking about right now? Enterprise readiness. There was a discussion on the 6th of June started by Serge, and people are really got really vocal about this whole topic. Is it enterprise ready? Yes, no. There are people like Mike Fitzmaurice or Addis Hugo stating it's not, and Serge trying to prove his point. So it's really a hot topic right now. So now let's go into the demo case, Contoso farming. So why are we doing this? So we want to showcase the current capability of the current citizen developer stack. We want to share the real-world experience that we have gathered so far. We had a lot of fun building that thing, and we want to inspire you guys to see, hey, what can we actually do, or what is possible to do with that technology. So how we did it. So I want to tell a little story about it. It's actually a sales guy who just joined a company, and it's not really a tech-savvy guy. He doesn't really know how these things work. And we built this kind of solution for that person, which actually really helps the person to get his job done in almost not doing anything. So what we do first, we detect the mood of the person, and that is triggering something in the background, which actually proactively triggers help for the person to actually do his work. So we use Power Apps, we use cognitive services, we use Teams to interact with the user, and the bot framework who actually talks to the user. Then we do an in-context real-time training on a SharePoint side. Then we use cognitive services to actually look at the document, translate it to Spanish, analyze the content of it, and through that create a lead in Dynamics. So after that, we do this automatic lead generation in Dynamics with cognitive services. Then we go to the sales order processing, where we interact again with the end user through Teams and Dynamics. We do a customer collaboration. That means we create a SharePoint site through Teams with the help of our good friend Vesa Juvonen, you will see. Then we do production tracking in SharePoint and Planner. And then order production management in the end with Power Apps and Planner. And then in the end, we praise the citizen developer in Teams through the bot. So, would you like to see that? Good. Not so enthusiastic. I'm almost blown away.
It's after lunch.
Okay. Okay, Marcel.
Yeah.
So first we would start with the mood detection. Huh?
Yeah.
So you need to snap a picture of me, is that correct?
Yeah. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
So.
Oh. Me too. Maybe you need to. No. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Jussi, first of all, I would like to understand what is your mood today. We just take a picture here. This is obviously a funny app. We try to keep the fun in the story. So what we do is we send this picture and let's see what is going to happen. Oh wait, Alfred the butler posted the new message into Teams. Directly in the context where I was, and he says, "Hi, Jussi, you look a bit frustrated." Yeah, behind that what we do is actually cognitive services, the Vision API, the Face API. I want to quickly show you in the background what we're processing there in a SharePoint list. This picture, to recap, was taken from Power Apps. It was uploaded to a SharePoint list, and there is a flow which got triggered based on the list entry.
Just as a side note, this is not a real business case. You cannot have the camera on all the time. But for instance, you could check what the users are talking. If they say, damn, I don't know how this works. And that actually could trigger a flow which saying, hey, okay, we figured out that you were talking about this.
Yeah. What we're doing in real life with customers is more sentiment analysis of text. Okay? This can be in Yammer, it can be in any other service. In this case here for the demo we wanted to showcase the Vision API and the Face API. What you see here is actually all the pics which were uploaded, and you see some things. First of all, you have the ratings for emotion, then you have the rating for demographics.
All 0.02.
41, man. Okay. Not bad. Known person, Jussi Mori. So this is not a fake. What we do here is Face API, and we fed the API with Jussi's faces, so it detected that.
Some pictures from Facebook, so I don't know how good it was, but
with some he said
exactly no
face.
That's not. Yeah, I know.
Okay, I mean the point here is the following. We detected something based on what we detected. Now we lead the whole process. Have you seen before? We lead the user through the process in Teams. So I say, yes, Jussi, please help me.
So this is Alfredo.
Yeah. Especially for you guys, we added a little bit of Spanish. This is Alfredo. Alfredo is a simple bot, and he's here now to help Jussi, not to be frustrated.
So now I ask Alfredo, hey, can you help me to upload a sales document?
Let's keep it a bit more generic, as this use case will now present to you some options, some different kind of training options. Bots in general react pretty fast. We have a slight delay here, but it will come.
No.
So, okay, nice that you asked me. It just offers some help. Basically, this is the bridge between what we detected, a bad mood or bad sentiments, whatever. Then we offer help, in-context help with Alfred. And now we say, okay, I'm interested in sales document, because as Jussi said, he's a new guy, he's a new sales guy in a company.
Never worked with SharePoint, no idea.
So, the bot simply offers, oh look, I have an online training for you. You want to go and participate there?
Yeah, let's do that.
You will do that because you're the pro for this beautiful product. We landed here in the sales department side now. Huh? This is a modern SharePoint site connected, extended with Teams.
So the right tool offers me now the walkthrough to help me. Okay, how do I do upload of a sales document? So it shows me in context in here. I need to click on sales document to start uploading a document. Okay, got it. So I click on that. It goes to the next step, showing to me you can now click on upload document from your hard drive. Okay, interesting. And then the last one, or I can simply drag and drop a library here, and I even get a small video explaining me how the modern document libraries work. So just as a small help tool for the user.
So this is a whole interactive tool where you can add your multimedia resources to guide the user. Sorry, I forgot to delete this test document here.
But now I learned how to do it, so now we can upload the document.
Yeah.
So maybe to say this document right now is in English, right? Oh.
This is always the modern quirks. You need to refresh once and you will get the document.
So now you can see this English document which describes this sales case, sales proposal.
Okay, there was a document uploaded during the training, and what we do now is we hook up this real-time activity which happened, and as you've seen before, we had some new activity here in Teams.
So now Alfred says, new lead discovered through the document we have uploaded into that library.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's first go into the enablement of the Jussi. Jussi just did a training. We think it's pretty important to push out that we have these training resources, and I think it's pretty important to praise Jussi.
Yeah, I need that.
He did the training. As we can do in Teams, maybe, yeah, doesn't matter. Buenos dias.
Okay.
And just a quick word about the structure. I know it's a bit a long story, it has a lot of things, that's exactly the goal, right? It should showcase all broad band of varieties you can do. We have three teams here. One is our corporate team, also we have our intranet bound to that, the modern intranet. Then we have our sales team, and we have our production team. So in the next steps, what you will see is actually that based on the content, the uploaded and translated context, we did an analysis of the content. And in this content, there are some tags or keywords which are important to sales for automated lead discovery. For example, in this case here, now it's about flowers with a farm, so we produce flowers. And in this document, there was information about a wedding. A wedding should mostly need flowers. So in this case, this is our scenario. I quickly want to show you our nice intranet, because until now what you've seen is only one of the department sites. This is the main intranet. As you can see here, it's also enabled with hub sites, a very cool concept to structure your content. And you don't want to see that too much, but there are some more shots. So we have all the today's moods on our intranet starting page to have a bit more of fun. Okay, let's dive into the process. We had an activity here which said lead discovery. And if you read, there is something highlighted, interesting information. Right? In the background, what we do is a text analysis. You can use the text API for that, Azure Text API. And it will just rate the document and it will extract which words are relevant. So based on that, we extract this flowers tag or wedding, and based on that, we created several things. On one side, Dynamics 365, also to showcase the capabilities on how fast and how easy we can connect things. On the other side, we have our document. This document.
So now in Spanish.
In Spanish.
Is it good? Can you maybe zoom a bit?
I think Spanish is not that bad. In Lisbon, in Portuguese,
Is it okay?
we had other experience.
So, translated by, was it the language API?
Yeah, that's the Microsoft Translator API, the new one. It was Bing before, and it became now the Microsoft Translator. You can easily use it just to get information about the text. For example, what language is that, and so on. Based on that, maybe you want to do something like translate it or
so see what's happening here? The sales doesn't speak Spanish, but he can actually communicate with the customer whose native language is Spanish, and the technology enables this. So this makes the work much easier between the different parties.
Exactly. Okay, we have here a button, track sales case in Dynamics. As this Dynamics instance is on another account than what you're seeing here on my dev tenant, I have to open that in the browser. But basically, I'm a big fan of all the integrations here with tabs. We see a bit more later on that when we talk about the order management. Just for the demo, I'm going here now into our Dynamics, and we should see
The new lead.
our new lead. This is the one which was created. I had some talks with the customer, and he said he needs more flowers than expected. Maybe we can add something here. And what's pretty relevant is now I say, okay, I want to qualify this lead. You know, I talked to the customer, we thought it can give 5,000. In this case, he said, no, I need flowers for 10,000. It's a royal wedding. We did this interaction here. We classified all that stuff. What is going to happen now is the next step in the chain. I wasn't able to integrate the Teams stuff, or I didn't just have enough time to integrate the Teams viewer that you can see in Teams what I have here on the phone. But I will still keep the phone up because we're talking about Power Apps. All this stuff is totally mobile. All this stuff is not just working on the mobile, it works in SharePoint, it works in Teams, in tabs, and so on. This is also what we will see. I will just keep it open so we can follow up some notifications we get there. Okay. What happened now in the background?
Did you close the lead or qualify? Check again.
No, the trigger will come. What's going to happen now is that we simply just create an approval task in Flow, so the customer can approve this contract which we send to him. And on the other side, we're currently looking into blockchain so that we could do a smart contract directly in Flow, and then the whole chain would be, let's say, end-to-end digital. Let's quickly look into that, where we stand. Maybe an interesting thing here is to see a little bit about the background and how these things are built. We have Flow here. I'm a fan of creating small flows. If you try to do too much in one flow, you will end up in mostly not nice situations. Yeah, we're just waiting for the trigger to come. So this is actually our little flow which we're waiting for. He checks the leads, he starts an approval then, and he does some interaction here in rich cards, rich message cards in Teams. Let me quickly maybe enforce that a bit.
So we promise it worked all the time before.
I won't jump in, but content. Okay, here we have our flow notification. This stuff is push and pull, and sometimes it's a bit, it can take a minute or two until you really get the trigger, but I think that's totally okay, because in real life it never happens, it only bites us in the presentations. Okay, to follow up what happened now is, as I said before, we were in Dynamics. In Dynamics, we qualified this lead. We talked to the customer. He confirmed that he would like to work with us. We want to get a digital feedback on that. So we use flow approvals. Is someone using flow approvals to approve documents in SharePoint or anything?
I still counting this.
Yeah, the guys there are using all. I have to say, one of the, for me, coolest things in Flow is really this mobile approval. So let's say the second approval step here, which is now the contract, which has to get approved. I will approve on the mobile app. About this workflow, I was talking before, this SharePoint document approval project. I'm sometimes a guy who works during night, so I bugged the customer with all my testing, and they got a lot of notifications here from Flow, and even woke up. So we always have to think what we do, right? Now the contract was approved. The next step, which is happening, is, if you heard the vibration, this is a Power Apps notification. So we have a contract. We're ready for production, and I just pushed out some of this feedback here on the mobile with Power Apps notifications. It's currently a premium feature. Huh? Maybe it will come to the normal stack. As you've seen here, let's go back to Teams, because Teams is our hub where we connect everything, where we lead the process, and I see here now, based on my approval, new flowers order confirmed. I have different options. On one side, I can again go to Dynamics to see what's up there. I can see the production planning. This is basically Planner in this case. And from Flow, we created a new task, which is here now. I can go, I can do my production. Let's close them both. So that means our flower bouquets are now ready for delivery. And what we will get is a notification on Power Apps for the delivery guy. So we tell him, okay, look, the flowers are ready, you can go and deliver them now. For delivery or for the order management, we created here in Teams, also to showcase these possibilities, we created different tabs. On one side, we have our order management. One of the very important things for me with modern SharePoint is that modern SharePoint is becoming kind of a content canvas. So think about, you have a page, and on this page you can do all the stuff you can do on a SharePoint page, including SharePoint framework web parts, own development stuff, all the worries, and you can surface this content wherever you want. So my goal is here to provide a good and clear usability for our delivery guy. For example, here we have our order list.
So it's very nice, as you said, the content canvas. So you have the things in SharePoint, but you do the work in Teams. So you don't need to go anywhere else. You have everything within Teams, but you use all the capabilities what SharePoint Office 365 has to offer.
Yeah. Here we see what I was talking before. These are SharePoint list customizers, JSON based. Here we have smart contracts. The idea is to bring the blockchain here, as I said. Okay, this is the order list. We have our order. The status of the order is order delivery. Huh? Then we had the push out here on the Power Apps notification. So the guy knows he needs to open the app. This is our delivery app. It's very simply just built on what you've seen before. It just goes there. Here we display the location, and he confirms that he delivered. Sorry, this was the wrong one. So this is our delivery. It's currently in the state order delivery, and it will now be fulfilled. That basically means it's delivered. We will also now see an update of that stuff here in the order list. And as you've seen, another new notification. Congratulations on the order fulfillment. That means the order is now done. I want to show you one little thing, then I stop with the demo. This is our funny bot, the VESA bot. It's basically a bot which just leverages the capabilities of SharePoint PNP, PowerShell, and this we run as an Azure function, so we can easily call that here from the bot. So let's see what VESA is talking to us. Obviously he says he's good with SharePoint sites. I have, again, rich card experiences here in the form of a carousel where you can showcase content in the way you like, or let's say a bit more rich than just text. Let's choose what type of site. It's a com site. We have different page layouts, 2 columns, maybe add a web part, title, something. Let's add the user here as an admin. Oh, thank you. I will apply these permissions, but you need to please me first. VESA likes to be pleased. Okay.
Don't need to call him Dear VESA, so obviously.
Let's do that. You're a good boy. And he created the site. Just another funny example we built to have fun with VESA and to showcase what bots can do, or what we can do with the modern stack also. Stuff like Azure Functions, SharePoint PNP included, etc.
But again, the cool stuff is again, so you're in teams, you use different bots to do different things, you get notification automatically from all the processes, what is happening in the background, you create sites through interaction with the bot. It gets much more, let's say, human friendly, the interaction with the software in that way. So that would obviously drive also user adoption and help end users to get things done in a much faster and easier way.
Yeah, and also fully integrated way. One little more detail you see here is the integration with Dynamics again. So this is a connected Office 365 connector web parts which you have in SharePoint now, so you can use them to surface data, to pull data into your page, and I think this makes the whole story around the content canvas extremely rich. Just go and try it out, find scenarios which can fit the current situation of the technology.
PowerPoint. Sure. Next. So, questions?
The only thing which was really code was some JavaScript for the bot, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? The bots are done in Node. Everything else is totally no code. I'm not a developer, definitely not. I don't have the brain for a developer. I have an IT pro background. And
No.
Yes, same with you.
So 2 non-devs managed somehow to create a solution like this. So I think that kind of proved the point, you know,
Yeah.
that before it would have been just impossible for us to do something like this. Yeah, yeah. But any questions about the demo or how we did it, or we have still, we have still a bit time?
If you want, we can do a little walk through the technical background a bit, right?
Who wants to see that? Yeah, okay.
Maybe we'll showcase some of the main parts of, let's say, the intelligence part, the cognitive services part, where we detect faces and
the cool
stuff.
Huh?
Yeah. Maybe the bot. But you have something in particular you would like to see, or should I just go ahead?
Go ahead.
Okay. If we think about the steps which we saw, you see here that more or less I built all the signal flows for that. One of the funny concepts here in the beginning is actually the integration between Power Apps and flow. So that means nowadays you're able to interact between Power Apps and flow. The trigger of this mood detect thing was simply Power Apps. This is a new trigger you have in flow. You can use it, and if you define flow with a Power Apps trigger, if you design something in Power Apps, you will be able to bind them together, and you will be able to exchange parameters, right? So you define the parameters which you want to push to the flow, you define them actually in the Power App. Very simple. Then, nothing magic, just we have to convert the data to normal binary. We're creating the file, and then this is one thing which you've seen before, this rich cards. This might come pretty soon with the designer, so you will be able to design the rich cards. You don't need to write JSON. Also, if you want to have rich cards, there are online designers currently for that, where you can easily find samples. Okay. Let's look a bit into something more interesting. Face API, detect person, and demographics. What we do here is basically we check in this employee moods list, the one we've seen here. We check if there is a new picture. So the trigger is obviously something added to this list. Then one good practice for everyone, if you're doing flow, use scopes. If you don't use scopes, you might not be able to do proper error handling and so on, and things will become very much unreadable. So I just put this thing here in a scope. A scope is just a container to wrap some of your activities. When you're doing flow a bit more extensive, you will definitely land in the situation that you cannot see the whole flow anymore, or you cannot really get an understanding what is on the left or on the right of where you currently are. So use scopes. Scopes also have some other advantages. A scope can, need to quickly add one more here. A scope has a run after configuration. Just want to give you a quick hint on error handling. If in this block, scope face API flow actions, there would be an error, or for example, you are running something timed. You say, okay, this process has 7 days. What happens after 7 days? It times out. This guy here as a trigger has timed out. So that means if your process ends, it will run there and it will do what is in this code. Pretty an easy concept. What we see here is also has failed. The problem is, if you have a huge flow and there is maybe some little part failing, you might not want your whole flow to fail. And you might need to inform someone about exactly what happened in this block, because if something fails, which for example is relevant for H&R only and not relevant for the whole process to proceed, it's a good way to use scopes and to use this run after activities. Then what we do here is basically just getting some information about the files, and we create blob storage for the Face API, so we can store our images there. We initialize some variables. This here is now the call to the Face API. This is currently, in this case here, implemented as a single HTTP request. So as you can see, we call the cognitive services the Face API, and we have some details which we want to get back.
Good question.
Yeah.
How do you manage authentication to this API?
Yes, with this here. If you want, you can now go on my API and take a picture of this. It's when you create.
Tommy did already.
I'll go and delete it. No, the thing is actually it's always just a key you use for that. And you get multiple keys when you provision the service in Azure. So you go there, you say, okay, I want to, for example, if you want to start with something simple, don't start with that. For example, start with the describe image action. What you do then is build a document library, drop an image in there, and do, as you've seen before, this flow, which then sends your data or your image to the describe image service, for example, and you will get back a sentence, what do I see on the picture, and you get back tags, keywords you can use. In this case here, it's more focused on a person, so we're talking about demographics, age, all this kind of stuff. And this API is a little bit more advanced because, I mean, if you just want to compare my face with another version of my face, it's very simple. But what if you want to take a picture of Jussi and you want to ask a bunch of reference pictures you have, so you want to actually detect the person? It's a bit different there. So you need a bit more logic around. We have that here, but I will start with a very simple describe image if you want to start to do something with vision.
Marcel, so maybe another important question. So with the knowledge we have right now, with all we have built, so how long would it take to rebuild this whole construct? Let's say if a customer would want this, so what kind of a project we would need to sell to the customer? Is it like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks?
Half a year ago, I would say 3 days.
Yeah.
Today, it looks very different for me personally, as more as I learn, as more drawbacks I starting to understand, and therefore, yeah, it's currently all the estimates I do with our customers, it's always a bit shaky. So we need to talk to the customer in advance and say, look, this is a journey into new technology, and yes, maybe I'm able to take some of the efforts on my shoulders, and you also need to invest something if you want to get.
But we still talk about days.
We talk about days, yes. I mean, here it's more the story.
Yeah,
Until we had the story and everything, if you clearly know what you want, and let's sit quiet and think how you really want to do things before you actually do them. You can just go and play around, that's good. But if you have a process or something, sit with the customer, design it like you did before. Right? I did the mistake a lot of times that I didn't do that. I'm this kind of guy, wow, cool, I can do this, this and that, let's do it. So my evolution was always like, okay, first the customer was very happy, then the first drawbacks came up, then I started to fight them, so the next stuff came, and yes, in the end you have a solution, and yes, you mostly also have a happy customer because they like such things in the small use cases currently.
Yeah, and it's really fast.
Actually, they are very fast at building stuff nowadays.
Okay, I think we are running.
If we have 5 minutes more, let's do the following.
Sure.
What you see here is the run history of what we did before, right? So the cool thing is, if you call an API, I'm in particular talking about the cognitive service APIs here, you always get the feedback. And you can see, okay, this is what I got back, go and parse the JSON and start to operate on it. What I quickly want to show is here, the real activity where we get the person. And there is a little crucial stuff here, because in our system every person has a face ID, so we need to go and detect the face ID first, so we can then call get a person. You cannot just go and say, okay, get a person of what? And this is something you have to do a bit before. The guys back there around Stefan and Tommy, they are also very strong in this area, and I think they also have some great resources for you to start on Cheat and on their personal blogs. Okay, yeah, in the end it's just handling states, it's detecting faces. This is actually now the action where I get back that this is Jussi. And as you can see here again, another scope which then does nothing more than basically writing the feedback which the web service gave us, writing it back here to the list, so we have this. It's extremely simple to build. Start with it. There are tons of cognitive APIs. We talked a bit about face, we talked about vision, we talked about text, but there are tons of other services.
I just saw age 44.
I was hoping for 41. This age detection is actually pretty accurate in my experience.
Exactly.
If the picture is okay, the result is not that bad. I don't know what is your opinion, but
Yeah, it depends on the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one picture, the guy is like 22, and the system told him 66.
Okay.
The resolution was bad.
Was it
Okay.
was it before or after the SharePoint?
Before and after.
Before and after.
It's that in-between picture.
Okay.
yeah, we have some shots here, and for example, if we compare this here, pretty much late at night with something a bit better, we would see that this picture here was rated pretty accurate, and this here was rated maybe 48, I think. So, yeah. You cannot use that in enterprise, right? Oi, Siri is talking to me. Good. Jussi?
Yeah, I think we need to wrap up. So, go. Yeah, so in this case, thanks for attending. Please rate our session. So remember, we both have families and need some food and rioja on the table. So please don't destroy us. Also, we are really open for very honest feedback. We will have this session many times during this year. It's actually the first time in this year we have this session. It's evolved a bit from last year. But yeah, we would be happy to hear some honest feedback. Thanks a lot for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.